Heyo pistachios! Today I wanted to make a quick video showing you the books that have shaped me. And what I mean by this is the books that I read as a child or a young adult that really influenced me in one way or another. I think that literature has this powerful ability to shape some of our values, to make us think about the world in different ways, and really open up our eyes to different subjects or viewpoints. And so I just wanted to share some of these with you guys. The first one is Becoming Naomi Leon, and on the back it says, things I am good at. 1. Soap carving. 2. Worrying. And 3. Making lists. And so this story is about a young girl who grows up with her little brother, and they're raised by their grandma. And she doesn't know much about her father, and her mother isn't in the picture. And so she goes through this entire journey of really finding herself and identifying with her own culture. And her mother comes back into the picture and causes all kinds of trouble for her. But it was the first book I read in which the character has some sort of awakening about the fact that she is of a different culture than those around her. And I'm South Korean, and so I went through this too while growing up. Obviously, I grew up in a community where there were very few other people from the place that I was. And so it was really interesting to read about a character who was going through some of the same kind of struggles and going through the same kinds of things that I was when I was this age. So that was really good for me, I think, to learn that this is a normal thing that a lot of people went through, and it was refreshing to read about something like that in literature that I was reading at that age. The next book is The Princess Diaries, which most people know from the movies. It's a very long series, and this was one of those books that I just adored, and so I would read all of them because there's quite a few of them. But it was great because it was a princess who was extremely awkward, really uncomfortable in herself, and it's this whole coming-of-age story that I think was really good for me to read at the time when I was going through all the awkward things in my life as well. It's entertaining, it's funny. I would recommend reading this at some point in your life, honestly, even at the age I'm at now. It's just, there's so many quirky little weird things that Princess Mia does, a lot of embarrassing moments that I relate to, so this is a good one. The next book is called Project Mulberry, and this was a wonderful book for me to read because it is about a girl who's from South Korea, and so she is growing up in America, and she has a school project that's due, and her mother suggests that they raise silkworms, as it was something that they used to do in ancient Korea. And at first the girl is really opposed to it because she wants to do something more American. And so this was a subject that I identified with as well, because in my mind, there was a certain way that you were American and conforming to that ideal, when in reality, America is a melting pot with different cultures and identities, and that you should really celebrate these things. And those were a lot of the themes that were talked about in this book. And I think that as a young girl, it was really, really helpful and beneficial for me to read about these things. And this was written by a woman who I believe is also Korean, so that was really cool too. But yeah, representation in media, whether it's through TV or books, is really important, especially for the younger generations. The next book is one that has really benefited me in falling in love with the fictional universes. Peter Pan, a classic. I loved the idea of Neverland because I never wanted to grow up, even when I was little. I think there's something so magical about being transported into another world and really falling in love with these characters who are still teaching you things. This is about courage and, coming home to those that we love. Another one like this is the Chronicles of Narnia, more specifically The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I loved all of the symbolism in this, and as a young child I didn't really pick up on it, but as I read it when I was a little bit older, the kind of themes of right and wrong, good versus evil, courage, and all of that. That's the thing that I love about books like this, is that they can implement values and things that we learn to believe in later on, but at a way that the younger generations can understand more fully. And so this was one of those books that did that for me, and I just fell in love with Narnia as well. I wanted to go to Narnia. I wanted to be a Narnia princess. And of course, classic, Harry Potter. I love the Harry Potter universe. I am a Gryffindor, as I've found out recently. It's such a rich and dynamic and in-depth world that J.K. Rowling has achieved and created, and so this is something that touches the hearts of young and old. All of these fictional books, I think, have really helped me realize that like what I enjoy writing about is usually fictional, because I just think that, you know, it's more interesting, and you know, it can be a way of escapism into reading things about other worlds when maybe like your own life isn't so great. And I really found like hope and really a lot of themes that I still hold dear to me now, and I will go back and reread these books at any time. More classic, I guess. Little Women. This is one of those books that really inspired me as a young girl, because especially with the character of Jo March, she is stubborn and passionate and really willing to work very hard for her dreams. She wants to be a writer, and so I really identified with her, and I think that she's a wonderful role model because she really goes after her dreams even in a time when it wasn't so normal for that to happen. It's really formative in realizing that you can achieve your dreams as a young individual. The last one is The Stories of Nancy Drew, and this is a bigger book that represents a series for me. And Nancy Drew was something that I loved to read because my mom used to read it as well. And the thing about Nancy Drew is that she was beautiful, of course, and, you know, stunning, but she was also extremely intelligent, and she often caught the bad guys before anyone else did. And so having that character who was all these things, she could be whatever she wanted, and she was brilliant, was really impactful as a young girl. Once again, like characters such as this and Jo March are wonderful to read about, because I think it's really important for girls to realize that they can be strong and they can be smart, as well as being pretty, everything like that. So these are the books that have been formative. Just, you know, they're not like the most classic pieces of literature or anything, but they are really important to me as I was growing up, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. So please subscribe if you haven't already. You can click up there to see that. You'll be able to do that through a new end card. Woo! And then here's my last video. Hope you guys check that out. But I hope you guys have a lovely day, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye, pistachios.